call the meeting to order, and in absence of the opening invocation tonight, we will go ahead and move to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. We'll go ahead and move on to the item number 3, which is to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. It brings us to the next item, which is to approve the consent calendar, which are the minutes from our July 8th meeting and the payment of bills.
So second.
Motion Mary, second Roy. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. That brings us to item number 5, which is to open a public hearing to consider replat of lots 1 through 11, Block 2, Valley View neighborhood.
I'm going to go ahead and share this on the screen so everybody can see. So this is the property up in Valley View neighborhood that in the kind of the dotted lines here shows the original plat from back in 2007. Basically, Blue Spruce Properties is submitting the replat, basically to go to one parcel that ultimately will have four plexes and 3 duplexes, so 14 total units in there. That arced layout, nobody's been a real fan of that, so we want to basically go back to do a clean slate. It's all going to be one parcel with those units on it. I don't know if anybody has any.
Anyone here that wants to speak in regards to the public hearing that we currently have open in regards to this issue? Right now, I'll close the public hearing and we will move to item 6, which is to consider approval of the replat of lots 1 through 11, Block 2, Valley View neighborhood.
So moved.
Second. Okay.
Motion Mary, second John. Any further discussion?
I just have one question. Is that covers the same footprint, the 200 by 664, the new plat does? Is that what?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
outer
fits
footprint
in the
is
same,
Yeah.
okay.
So it'll end up being lot 1, block 2 instead of.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We'll now open the public hearing for the 2026 through 2030 capital improvement plan.
So we looked at this and talked about it quite a bit a couple of weeks ago. We've made, just a couple of tweaks, primarily on some of the cost items, but basically in police and fire, a lot of the similar type items, scanners, radios, squad cameras. Park and Rec, put some additional dollars away for playground equipment, golf cart replacement, picnic tables, garbage cans. We've got caboose painting on there. I actually did connect with the contact person on that today from the company, and he has been there and looked at it and is going to submit a proposal. He's not going to be able to do it until next spring, so it gives us time if there's any discussion to be had on that. It's been in the budget and on here for a number of years. Street department, a lot of the same things that we have on there every year, more replacement sidewalks, street overlays, seal coating. One new item is doing some epoxy floor coating in the street shop to prevent further deterioration of that concrete slab. Start putting some dollars away for plow truck replacement. the Highway 10 pedestrian sign that goes across Highway 10 over towards the depot. That is that Highway 10 crosswalk item. Skid loader, street sweeper is the big one. We'll have to look at that and figure out if we can make it work in the budget. They don't give those away, that's for sure. Hot box and the V-plow. In sewer, lift station, replacement down on Dakota and 4th Street Southwest. First part of the air release valve replacements on the force main coming back in from Lakewood. Manhole lining, some rail system for a couple of the lift stations, rebuilding the main lift pump over at 12th Street. Water, the motor rebuilds at the water plant, water meters, wrap up the AMI project that's been going for a couple of years. Some meter software, water department truck, and some other elbows and various things down at the water plant. Within the light fund, just to move forward with some design and engineering on a new light shop building. Replace one of the trucks. Underground improvements are items that we've had on there. Transformers are items that have been on there for several years and likely will stay on there. Digger derrick truck, old one's getting older. Cable tugger to help when we do underground work to be able to pull that cable through. Some improvements primarily on the east side of A Street and 26. And we've got to juggle and shuffle some electric around on the alley back behind where the credit union build's gonna be next spring. And then poles, you'll see poles on number of years going forward. Community center improvements, everybody knows we're doing.
Was pigging equipment, didn't we talk about, is that on there, am I not seeing it? We talked about getting pigging.
It's cheap enough where we wouldn't put it on the capital.
Okay,
Capital.
okay.
Yeah. The community center, we're doing the boiler, anticipate that starting end of August, beginning of September. So get rid of the old big boiler, replace it with two smaller units. Separate out the domestic hot water in the building, change out the two old rusty electrical panels. So that's gonna happen, like I say, probably starting early September. The locker room project, we did the final page turn here a week or so ago on the plans. They're developing the specs that will go out to bid. Optimistically October timeline, because once all of that's out and advertised, probably give contractors about a month to prepare bids on that. So, and probably maybe a 4 or 5 month long project. So we are making some provisions to be able to install a shower on the pool deck so people can rinse in and rinse out just on a temporary basis while the locker room project's being done. So AD building upgrades, and then we've got the 4th Street and South Side reconstruction projects that are the big ticket items. We anticipate end of August hearing about funding, at least the preliminary funding list on that. So questions on 26?
So we hopefully will have something approved that they're looking at us. It's not one that we are not gonna get anything, right? Because they don't fund every single grant.
Oh, no, they don't. What they do is they put together a priority list, and depending on the funding that they get, it goes down that list. So if you're above the line, you get funded, at least in some fashion. It might not be all grants, could be a mix of grant and loan, depending on where you're at. But even the loan component of that is pretty low interest rate, so. So jumping to 27, you're going to see a lot of repeat type things, but some office equipment and chairs over at the police department. You need to start replacing body cameras. A lot of the repeat items again in street. The Chicago Avenue one we talked about a couple of weeks ago is going to be really dependent on, from a timing standpoint on whether 3M decides to move forward with the project out there. So it'd be good to do that at the same time they deal with their stormwater. Second half of the air release valves, just kind of scanning down, trying to pick out things that aren't repetitive items. Smaller trencher unit that can get into some of the areas that we can't drive larger vehicles into. Trailer with wire reels. Community center improvements, again, whether 27 has anything or not, we're gonna kind of see where we're at from a funding standpoint and trying to do this kind of on a pay-as-we-go. We've got other items on there like, possible updates and renovation to the softball fields out at Dower Lake. And we've got Forest Street listed again on there, not knowing for sure what the schedule will be. As we jump into 28, body cams, some more computers. You're going to start to see north substation updates or upgrades. Regulators, and you'll see basically every year for 3 or 4 years, we've got some improvements to the north substation listed on here. Within Park and Rec, same types of items. One of the things that we have in 28, this is another one that kind of lingers on the CIP, but Dower Lake Park expansion. Looking at adding acreage, maybe getting to that regional park designation at some point. 29, get tasers, more north substation upgrades, loader in the street department. We've talked about amphitheater at NP Park. Got that sitting out there in 29. Go into 2030. More playground equipment stuff, snow blower, more underground improvements in north substation, manhole linings, a lot of repeat type items as we go forward, and the list gets a little bit shorter 5 years out than it does 6 months from now. So that's the CIP, if anybody has any questions.
Anybody here that would like to speak or have questions about capital improvement plan? You would like to? You can come up, identify yourself, and you got 3 whole minutes.
I'd actually plan to speak about this. Steve Hinson, 201 Prairie Avenue, Northeast, Staples, Minnesota, 56479. I liked what you said about the street sweeper. They don't give them away, but you know what? It's a lot of times it's a really big overlooked thing. And do we have a street sweeper in Staples? Okay. But we need another one or a better one. And do we have, and I don't know whose responsibility it is, but that main drag that goes up, by the cemetery, by the dinosaur park, what's that road?
4th Street?
Yeah. On the left side, there's a sidewalk, and, I walk a lot there, and there's a lot of sand on the road and on the sidewalk. It'd be super cool if we could have something that gets the sand off. I don't know if that's a private property responsibility or not, but if we could have something that does that, maybe a combination snow / sand brush, they have the brushes that, like Long Prairie had. But even on the side, and I think you would alleviate a lot of the sand issues on the sidewalk, getting it off the road, because it's probably a good 8 to 10 feet out. So I have to walk with a stroller, or, if my son wants to rollerblade or ride a bike, you have to walk, 8 feet out from the sidewalk to get off the sand. And with my shoes, I get the sand in my feet, and I got to stop and get it out. It's kind of hard. And so I would definitely support, as a taxpayer, and whatever my money goes towards that, a street sweeper, and something to alleviate that issue, because that's I've had, cars go by and stuff blown in my face and my little kid, and nothing really bad, I'm not gonna overstate it, but I would really like to see that, and I know it'd be expensive, but I think that would really go a long way in a lot of parts around the city that maybe get overlooked with that.
Thanks, Steve. Anybody else?
It'd be a vacuum style too, you said, right, Scott, as opposed to the standard sweeper, and that could be used in drier conditions?
It's more effective.
Okay,
It's not sweeping around and, putting it in the hopper.
okay, yep.
Does it have an attachment that you can? Okay, just check.
I can look, but that number might change.
Go to 400,000 instead.
All right. If not, I think I will close the public hearing, and we'll move on to item number 8, which will be to consider the approval of the 26 through 30 capital improvement plan.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion Roy, second John. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. That brings us to item number 9, consider approval for railroad days. Hi, Jordan.
Hot off the press. You're the first to lay eyes on this, so don't tell your friends. Jordan Goodwater with Discover Staples. I'm here with my co-host and handler, Renee Kroll, to present Railroad Days 2025. This is year 4 for us, so we think we're finally getting it figured out the best we can. You have all the requests in front of you, hopefully. Just a couple high-level things. There have been no major changes to the layout of Railroad Days for this year. With the exception of we do have one addition that kind of came in last, and that was from B&Bs. And we are also, in addition to the street closures and the different requests we have on there, we are also seeking approval to have that street blocked off in front of B&Bs from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. To host an outdoor bar and liquor sales. Other than that, things are pretty great. Things have been working well, so we're not going to make major changes to that. We're going to kind of keep going with what we have going on. I won't bore you by going through all of this. If anyone has questions, I am happy to answer those questions. Otherwise, it is kind of as it's stated here. We have been in communication with Missy to kind of go through things from the public safety standpoint to make sure everything is covered as far as that goes, and hopefully everything looks good.
The only thing that could change
Sure.
is the 5 p.m. time date for the open time. So the worship bar will be open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yes, we're going to close it down at 5 p.m. to open that street back up. So they're going to actually move that into that vacant lot next to them. Thank you for catching that.
What was that?
So the bar for B&Bs will move off of the street at 5 o'clock, so we will open up 2nd Avenue again, and they will actually move that to the side of their building then for the rest of the night. We appreciate your support as always from the past, from the city standpoint of a lot of work that goes into that. We appreciate that greatly. And if anyone has any questions, please reach out. My cell phone's on there, Renee's cell phone's out there. We'd love to hear from you. And we look forward to another great year.
Thanks, Jordan. I'd like to personally thank you and Renee for all the hard work you put into this each and every year. So looking forward to another awesome Railroad Days. Thank you very much. Move on to item number 10. Consider first reading of ordinance 558, amending chapter 20-22, section 3 of the city code.
Do we need to approve the railroad days?
Oh, maybe we should.
I'll move.
I was too busy thanking you. I was too busy thanking you. So,
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
motion Mary, second John, to approve the railroad days as presented.
Point of order, was there an amendment?
No.
The 5 p.m.
Is it? Is it on this?
It's not on the schedule because it's not an actual.
Right. So it's not part of the railroad, it's not part of this?
It is not. I think the request from the city was to have all the requests together in one bundle rather than everything being separate.
Okay.
So it won't be a schedule item for sure.
All right, we have a motion, second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 10, to consider first reading of ordinance 558, amending chapter 2022, section 3 of the city code.
I believe everybody has a copy of this. We talked about this 2 weeks ago too. Again, just modifying, adding that area back in between Highview Estates and Valley View, where archery deer hunting would be allowed. The ordinance also adds some additional requirements as far as elevated stands, different things like that, that we did not have previously.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion John, second Mary Jo. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Brings us to item number 11. Consider approval of Blue Spruce Properties LLC Development Agreement.
A copy of the proposed agreement is in your packet. This basically is the legal document that takes all of that tax increment stuff and makes it official. Again, the purchase agreement had at least 8 units, 48 months, like we talked about. The 10-year TIF, once it starts, it's going. Doesn't matter if they have 1 unit built or 14 units built. That timeline is locked in here. So, basically, lays out and follows the state statute for tax increment housing projects, what the requirements are, and all of the reporting, compliance types items. Sorry for the bottom in your packet with this thing, but with all the attachments, I think it's probably 50 pages long.
So they pay tax on the land, but not on the home, is it? Okay.
There is, I'm not sure what page, on page 69 of your packet, there's a property layout, gives you an idea how that's going to fit.
I'll make a motion for the approval of Bruce Spruce Properties LLC Development Agreement.
Second?
Motion by John, second by Mary. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Go to item number 12. Consider approval of parcel split combination related to MMCFU development.
So, when we entered into the purchase agreement with the credit union for portions of the development site on Highway 10, we talked about one of the, in order to preserve as much Highway 10 property, we would sell the west Highway 10, but sell, a strip on the southerly side of the lots north of the alley for employee parking. So we need to take one of the lots along Highway 10, split that 25 feet would go towards the sale, we would retain the other 25 feet. On the south end, that 30 by, this is too small, if you read, 30 by 80, that would split off of lots 2 and 3 on the north side for the employee parking. So just need council approval, and then that gets submitted out to Pot County.
moved.
Motion by Roy, second by John. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. That brings us to our one committee report this evening in Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Let me get that, Gerald?
Well, if you want, otherwise,
Yeah, we had a meeting on July 8th. It was a short meeting. Gerald mentioned that there was that he had a pre-construction meeting the Tuesday before on the boiler project with RJ Mechanical. The lead times were at the beginning of September. Did you comment tonight that that might be October now, Gerald?
no, October is optimistic locker room rehab.
Okay. And again, he had just talked earlier about the shower on the pool deck. That was brought up during our meeting. He also shared that the shop drawings for the precast had been approved and submitted. Construction will start during that week. I don't know if that's happened or not. Lacey shared with the board that she had Jay Eckel come out and look at the new siren because it had not worked when the tornadoes that came through. They believe that the antenna is too high and it's picking up multiple signals from different surrounding areas, and therefore it didn't work properly. So, brand new siren, and it didn't work the first time we needed it to. So I don't know if that's been fixed. I don't know if there's a way to tell if it's been
He was out
fixed.
doing it today.
He was, okay. Oh, okay, so hopefully that gotten taken care of.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird deal because it worked when they tested it.
Yeah, that is bizarre. I'm sure there were multiple things going off that day, so. Lacey shared with us swim lessons, lots of kids signed up. Lisa Fontaine is part of the Trails Committee, and she updated the group on the status of the trails. The Arboretum is basically done, minus the signage out there and a little kiosk for the people that come in. So if you haven't been out there yet, it looks awesome. CLC put in a parking lot for us for about 10 cars, and we're working on funding right now for a crosswalk with flashing lights maybe right there, and just a better way for people to cross from the Legacy Trail over to the Legacy Arboretum. We won't have a meeting in August because that'll be during railroad days, and we closed our meeting at 5:26.
All right, is there any questions for John? Thanks, John. Yeah. That brings us to the open forum. Is there anyone that would like to take an opportunity to speak at open forum? Come on up, Brian.
I'll try to make this quick.
Just maybe identify yourself for us.
Brian Walwick, Staples Police Department.
Thanks, Ryan.
On July 2nd, 2025, at approximately 02:15 hours, Officer Chris Goff with the Staples Police Department was on routine patrol when he noticed smoke coming from the area of the 700 block of 5th Street Northeast. Officer Goff then began searching the area for the cause of the smoke. Officer Goff located a residential building that was actively on fire in the 700 block of 5th Street Northeast and immediately paged the fire department. It was around this time that Officer Dawson Walsvogel with the Staples Police Department also arrived on scene to assist. Officers attempted to make contact with the homeowner but were unsuccessful. Officers observed that the television was on inside the residence and feared that the homeowner was still currently inside. The decision was made to make forced entry. Once inside the residence, officer found the homeowner, who was in a deep state of sleep and would not initially wake up as officers were advising him his house was on fire. Officers then began to evacuate the homeowner from his residence while also making sure that no other individuals were inside. Due to the proactive police work of the officers patrolling the community, and due to the quick and decisive actions of the officers, the damage to the residential structure was kept to a minimum, and there was no loss of human life. Chief Larson and I would like to personally thank Officer Goff and Officer Wolfsvogel for their actions that night that helped not only protect property, but also human life. Your actions didn't go unnoticed. also did receive a letter from the fire chief, Cole Youngbauer, thanking them for their actions. And I also do have 2 life-saving certificates to present Officer Goff and Officer Wolfsvogel. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Man. It's awesome. Very awesome. All right, anyone else like to speak?
Steve Hinson, 201 Prairie Avenue Northeast, Staples. I'm going to read this, save some time. Having sat on a school board presiding over a budget of over $18 million, I remember when people came in with public comment, or when they saw me in Coburn's or on the street. Some people that disagreed with me before I ran, I actually won a write-in seat on the school board. Some people disagreed with me, some who were and weren't my friends, many who didn't agree with me politically. But no matter who they were, I remember in the early months of being on the school board, feeling, maybe you guys have felt this way too in your tenure and being on the city council, feeling almost instantly defensive, like this is what I thought. I'm not saying this is what you feel, but this is what I felt early on. How can they understand me? I'm just trying to do my job for the school. It was a lot of consternation for me about how to kind of react to that, because I knew that my duty was to kind of that trifecta of people. You had the school students, you had the parents, and then you had the faculty and staff, and you had to think about all those things. But I had an epiphany one day, at least for me. The $2 million HVAC upgrade I was considering and dealing with as I was on the grounds and upkeep committee, the $1 million parking lot repavement under consideration, and many other things that were considered. Those projects, those things that we're thinking about, they don't have feelings. They didn't have feelings. The people, however, that I represented, whether they voted for me or not, they had feelings. The parents, the students, the faculty, they all had strong feelings. Some felt more free to share their feelings than others. Faculty sometimes, and if any of you knew or know about Long Prairie School, we had some interesting times last few years there. And I was there in the thick of it. The town actually came together and all of that, which was kind of a cool thing. But people have feelings. My neighbors, the people, when I realized and remembered that my responsibility was to them, everything changed. Even when people I disagreed with, I found that my just little slight change in my heart and my head about who I represented, the people. The people voted for us. The people voted for you. The people could see whether or not I was invested in them and their concerns. Even if I maybe disagreed with some of the thoughts, people loved it when I listened and even repeated back their concerns. And maybe if we disagreed, they understood that I knew that they had valid concerns. Sourcewell didn't vote for me. SiteLogic, they're the company that sold and did the HVAC project, didn't vote for me. The packing plant who came to the LPGE with a TIF request, they didn't vote for me. My neighbors did. And even those who didn't vote for me, I represented them. So I just ask that you guys would please represent us and our concerns. We're not at all opposed to the meat processing plant or whatever, but we have concerns. Backed by many years of experience with the very same people that want to build the facility here. We have many facts, and factually speaking, they're not evil, bad people, but they have a bad track record of managing facilities like this. And in fact, as you asked Douglas last time, they don't have any facilities like this, so they don't really know exactly how it's going to be affected. I have just a little tiny bit left.
Oh, sorry. I wish I knew how to run this down.
We have health and happiness concerns, just like the other neighbors that you'll see in the petition that we have, the petitions. We ask that you please enforce your ordinances. Please represent the folks that put you in the chairs. We're not here to make a stink. We want to be good neighbors. We have a great neighborhood. We have the neighborhood picnic coming up next month. And we expect others to be the same, good neighbors. And finally, you, City Council, you have the authority. You can ensure that those entities that have no feelings and no votes don't cross the line. You, City Council, can instruct the city attorney to do whatever you want him to do. You, City Council, have the authority to direct anybody that works for the city to do what you want to do.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Please identify yourself, and I'll remind you have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay. Hi, my name is Amanda Hinson, and I'm from 201 Prairie Avenue Northeast. I wanted to draw your attention to the way things were done back in 2023 regarding the conditional use permit for the meat processing plant. I believed and trusted what I was hearing, that it was done correctly, but I was directed to the ordinances today. Section 2 states, in regard to conduct of hearings, at the hearing, each party in interest shall have an opportunity to be heard and to present such evidence as is relevant to the proceeding. That's in the beginning of your ordinances. Nobody was available to speak to it because nobody from the public actually knew about it, so they couldn't participate. Also, Ordinance 109-36-3D states that in regard to giving notice, a similar notice shall be mailed at least 10 days before the day of the hearing, 1, to each owner of an affected property, and 2, to the property situated wholly or partly within 350 feet. Nobody beyond the 350 feet was mailed a notice. So I got the list, and it was just like 4 people. The city only notified those people within the 350 feet and not all those who would be affected by this meat processing plant. So that was not done correctly. I hope that you look into it. A feasibility study was done by Bridget Tuck in November 2023 for this project. And I don't know if you read it, but it was really good reading. She brought up concerns, or the 2 people that brought up concerns about this project, including the need to address wastewater before they go into building. And I know that that has not been addressed thoroughly. Most surprisingly, the feasibility study noted there wasn't a need for this meat processor for local farmers. All the local farmers already had their meat processing set up. And in fact, this was going into competition with 7 local small meat processors. Wasn't to break up the big corporate meat processor like Amy Klobuchar had said it was, because actually the feasibility study said that they were just going to let Long Prairie Packing do what they do, and they were going to do something else. And also what I found interesting was the study says it has an option to acquire 7 acres adjacent to them. Probably everybody here knows who owns that. What I think is most people understand is, 1, the meat processing is different than the rendering. But these 2 operations work together. They go hand in hand and deal with dead, smelly carcasses and byproducts. These 2 operations are ultimately owned by the same company, which has a track record of ignoring pollution controls and not taking care of the waste in a way that prevents odors. And there are way more issues than just odors. But thank you for your time.
Thanks, Amanda. Is there anyone else that would like to speak at open forum?
I would. I'm Heidi Klein. I live on Warner Road. I'm really new to this, so please be patient. But I do have an email that I had sent to Mr. Nelson the other day. I'm just going to read a little bit of it here. So I have, when this venture first started, we were understanding that it would be a mobile processing truck located at CLC campus for instructional use for students. It sounded great and beneficial for both the community and the students attending the college. However, the bait and switch seen in the newspaper a couple of weeks later really concerned a lot of people. There's no mention of a slaughterhouse static facility proposed at the time. And at the time that it was introduced, at least not very forthcoming and obvious to the public. Upon doing some investigation on the background of Mr. Wordish and his involvement with Central Byproducts and Farmer Union Industries, who own and are responsible for running the rendering plant Long Prairie, Redwood Falls, and Esterville, Iowa, I do have enormous concerns for this project, as do many others. Central Byproducts was fined $130,000 in 2020 for wastewater violations in both Redwood Falls and Long Prairie. Between 112,000 and 336 gallons of raw materials made their way to the Long Prairie River, nearby wetlands. No oversight or adherence to their previous permit. Willful disregard is evident seeing the past history of this company. Farmer Union Industries has been fined for inhumane slaughtering of their animals and received hundreds of odor complaints in which Minnesota has no recourse or rules for addressing, as well as environmental fines. Once damage is done surrounding the areas, it takes a tremendous amount of time and money to remedy the situation. And I do love local farmers. I did grow up on a farm. I love to see the growth in the industry. However, this is not a benefit to our town or the residents. There's no reason why the slaughterhouse needs to go 1.2 miles away from the elementary school. No reason why it needs to be within a mile of the nursing home or assisted living facility on Airport Road. It is a slap in the face to those who contributed to this town, majority of their lives. They just want to live out their final days in peace in a town that does not smell. And I know I did receive an email back stating that this operation is different. It's different than Long Prairie. It's not a rendering plant. But I've looked up this guy's track record. Every single business out of the 3 Central Byproducts, 100% of them had violations, multiple violations. And they had permits, said the same thing to the town. They're not going to do anything. You know, they're going to stay within this minimal amount of animals and such, and they have broke their promise 100% of the time. So that is what provoked us to go do a petition, and this is just 2 hours worth of signatures. There's over 50 at least. It didn't take long. Everyone said yes except for 2 people. So I do have that to
Pass it over to
you guys. And
Thank you,
yeah,
Heidi.
thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Is there anyone else that would like to speak at open forum this evening? Hearing none, I will move on to the city administrator's report.
Just a few quick updates. Dower Lake Safe Room that was mentioned earlier, footings have been poured, foundation walls should have been up today, you know, unless it turned into a swimming pool from the rain we had. So that project's moving forward. T-hanger project is getting close to being complete. They need to put the exterior sheeting on the bifold doors and finish some wiring, but other than that, it's some paving, and then we'll have tenants moving into those. Boiler project, John kind of provided an update on that in his report. And then National Night Out, coming up on August 5th. I've got, I don't know, Mary, if you brought any handouts, but I do have a few handouts here, just so council people remember when it is and come. So, with that, I don't really have anything more. I responded to your email with my understanding of what the project is, and the scope and scale are substantially different in my opinion. So appreciate your input. So that's all I have.
We adjourn.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.